it's February now. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh my gosh, how'd it get to be February? But honestly, January was really long for me. Like, it probably wasn't for other people, but I was counting down pretty much the entire month, waiting to be done with my unnamed theater company job and get to go to ALA. So, obviously, time went by really slowly. But that also means that it's time for another TBR video. So I'm currently reading Scarlet, the sequel to Cinder by Marissa Meyer. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce her last name. It's hard because everyone is talking about how amazing it is and how it's so much better even than the first, and just like, what if I'm disappointed? I don't want to be disappointed. It is good so far though. I don't quite like Scarlet the way I did Cinder, but I think that's just because I don't relate to her as much, but it's very early in the story, I may get to like her more as it goes on. I'm trying to finish it before the 5th, because that is when Marissa Meyer's having her launch party. It would be my first launch party ever, and it would be so awesome. I decided to kind of switch it up a little. In my last TBR video, I told you I was kind of going library book, arc, and a book I own, in that kind of pattern. But now that I've been to ALA and I have so many arcs that need to be read, I've decided to go something more like arc, library book, arc, library book, arc, book I own. At least 2 arcs for every other book, because there's so many. And I do want to, like, actually review them on time to actually do what the arcs are for, create, like, buzz, and I don't want it to be like, oh yeah, I got those arcs at ALA like 7 months ago. So let's start with the book that's first on my TBR, which is 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. It's a book I own, and it's a reread, because last month I didn't do a reread, which I set a goal for myself to do at least one every month, since I've never really reread a book to speak of before. And I kind of failed last month. I did check out the audiobook for the Percy Jackson The Lightning Thief, but I've only gotten through 1 disc because I do not have a CD drive anymore, so I can't download it onto my iPod. I can listen to it on my DVD player, but that doesn't do me quite as much good as having it on my iPod for when I have to, like, spend a half an hour walking to work. Anyways, that's not really the point. I've been wanting to reread this for a long time, since I remember loving it, and I just kind of thought I was alone in that, because that was before I really knew other bookish people were out there, before I started my blog or knew blogs existed. And since finding out that it did have a lot of impact and a lot of people did really love it, I've wanted to go back and just re-experience it, especially since I don't really remember anything from the story, but I do remember I loved it. So the book after that is Revolution 19 by Gregg Rosenblum. For those of you who watched my last one and remember, yes, it was in my last one, but I said it was an either or, and I did read the or the either. I'm not really sure how that would go. But since it actually came out in January, I want to read it and review it. And it's short, it's like 260 pages or something like that, so I figured it can't really take that long. And then the arc I have after that is Nobody But Us by Kristin Hallbrook. I wanted to kind of slip another contemporary in there, and this one came out I think just within the last week. So at least I'm not too behind on that. I've been hearing kind of mixed reviews, but I've met Kristen and she's really nice, and I want to read her book and I really hope I like it. I'm not quite sure though, since I do read contemporary, but I read a lot of fluff contemporary. I don't read the like issue books, as a lot of people call them. So I don't really read about the like broken characters from broken homes who are sad. I don't read that as much. So we'll see how that turns out. Book after that is a library book, Skylark by Megan Spooner. I've actually checked this one out, I think like 3 times. I've had to put it on hold and it's just gone back to the library because I didn't read it. I'm gonna read it this time. It's gonna happen. The book after that is Doomed by Tracy Deebs. Yeah, Deebs. This is not the final cover. I think a lot of people like this cover, but I think it's kind of, I don't know, weird. I'd have to say that it probably would draw in a boy audience though. Yeah, this one came out somewhere towards the beginning of last month, I believe. I don't generally like to read arcs of books that are already out because then I can read the finished copy, and I really like to read what the author and the publisher intended for the public to read. But this was sitting there on a table at ALA, and I thought I'd really been wanting to read that, so I'll pick it up and I'll just try to read it really soon. And the last book on my list is Mind Games by Kiersten White. I think this one came out, I think it comes out in the first week of February. I loved the Paranormalicy series, although I haven't read the last book. I have a problem with reading the last books. I don't know what's up with that. It's not like I don't want to. It's just that I don't, I guess. I even put it on hold at the library, and it sat on my shelf for a while, but then I had to go back. But anyways, I'm really excited to read more from her, and it's supposed to be a little darker, not quite so, like, girly and, you know, fairy and unicorn laden. And I'm really excited to see what Dark from Kiersten White looks like. So, those are my next 5 reads. So hopefully this will take me around 2 weeks to read, and I'll be able to get back to you with another TBR video. I'm really hoping it doesn't take me the entire month to read 5 books like it did last month. I believe in the month of January I read 8 books. Yeah. So it's a little disappointing to have only read 8. But I'm hoping to get on the ball now that I don't have a job and don't have anything to do. So that's what's going on with me. Have you read anything awesome lately? Is there anything you're like really looking forward to reading soon? Let me know down in the comments.